Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I decided I was going to do this like in long form video form because I had got some pretty interesting announcements to make, and I feel like the better thing to do is to do them in this format for reasons you're about to see, because the things I've got to like get across I can't really do in less than a minute, so we may as well give ourselves a little bit of extra time. First of all, we have now only got 91 days to go until RageCon 4. This means, ladies and gentlemen, we only have 13 weeks until RageCon 4 begins as well, which I know it means the same thing, but it's good when it falls into place like that. And as I know you've probably already heard me say before, when we had 15 weeks to go and we only had 14 weeks to go, is that, well, we really are in trouble. We were in trouble nearly, well, 14 days ago, because at this current moment, we have 240 videos ready to go for RageCon 4. The problem we have, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that, one, in an ideal world, we need to have at least 10 videos made daily, or so that we could, the idea is that I wanted enough videos to get us to ready before the new year begins, to get us to the end of March, which means that, oh god, I think we need to have at least over 1,000. I'm almost at the end of my ropes trying to like remember all these numbers at the top of my head, but it's somewhere close to all that. So all things being equal, by the end of October this month, I need to have at least 250. I need to double my workload compared to what I did in September and 2 weeks into, well, 3 weeks really I should say, into August, which is a huge undertaking. I've never once denied that to do all of this in that amount of time is going to be an extremely difficult business. However, it's only going to be difficult if I choose to make it difficult. It's only going to be hard if I choose to make things hard for myself. In many ways, doing all of this could be relatively simple and easy. And don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, is that there was a fly on my wall, is that I had at least taken some measures to making sure that the workload is a little bit easier. I mean, for example, on one of my channels, I prepared 48 videos already, and all of them are to go out on each Monday of the year. The only exceptions to the rule is that October is going to be all reserved for maybe Halloween stuff and maybe some end of year material. Although I might just do, but then I kind of almost thinking to myself, what the hell? It's only like four extra videos, so I think I may as well just do those anyway, because it feels a bit more fair and a bit more consistent for what we're working with. So if I do that, then we should be okay. Second thing to get across, ladies and gentlemen, is the question, always a very protruding question, of what happens if I get to, let's say, a day before December, before the new year begins, and I have at least, well, let's say 800 videos ready to go. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that's still relatively good, because for one of my other channels as well, I also took the liberty of making 25 videos all ready to go out on each Monday. So if I could go about this right, it means that for the first couple of like weeks up for the new year, I could have videos like organized in a timely manner, so that I know where everything is going, I know what's going out on what date, and I know what's going out with which. Basically, the more organized I am, the better it's going to be. Improvisation, ladies and gentlemen, is the enemy of organization, and half the battle for RageCon 4 is literally being organized, being prepared, and being ready for whatever comes my way. That's the only way I'm going to actually stand a chance in this, by making sure everything is prepared and that I get out what I need to get out and it all comes together in one piece. It is easier said than done, ladies and gentlemen, but the one advantage I do have is that I go on about having only 91 days to go, but you'll be very, very surprised about what exactly can be done in 91 days. So if it's a question of time, well, it's only going to be an issue if I choose to leave things far too late. For example, there's, you know, things like descriptions, there's tags, there's doing thumbnails, there's making sure that I submit my videos onto Patreon early. There's also things about sending my videos off into groups via Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, so that I can basically if you can count social media as like a net, the further I cast my net, it means the chance of more fish I'm going to catch. It's about the most sincere metaphor I could really think of for like for attention on social media. It's legitimately the only thing I could think of at the moment. But what I have also thought of at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, is the question of Patreon. Now, since many of, I'd say roughly half of the videos I'm going to be putting out are music reactions, getting the opportunity to release them early and the fact that anyone could view them for a very small price, it means, well, the pricing plan really for Patreon is that it's going to be like £5 basically for a flat line, for just to watch them. And for £5, you get the chance to view every other video that's available on Patreon, and they will all be released early anyway. So you get the benefit of seeing things a whole month in advance, and you get the advantage of seeing everything else that I've got on offer, which is quite a good steal. And given the length and breadth of videos that I'll be putting out, it means that there'll be something out there to satisfy you. Or you could always, there's always the question of just trying to do like a sponsored sort of video in which, for a very small price over PayPal, let's say £1 for a recommendation, you get a video entirely to yourself. And for maybe the price of, let's say, £2, I'll make the video especially for you. As in, you'll be the only one who will be able to view it. And that, as they say, shall be that. I might think about more about these sort of plans maybe towards the end of October, because there's that to consider as well. But at the present moment, ladies and gentlemen, and this is probably the biggest part of this, is that things where I mentioned about things going from bad to worse, because listen, on the surface, it may seem as though it's a tough uphill battle, but I'm getting through it almost one small step at a time, which is a fair enough assessment. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, except for one thing, and it was what happened yesterday at work. And about, well, it was coming up to 24 hours ago, one of my managers came upstairs while I was in the middle of work and announced to me and a bunch of other people that we'd just been bought out. And we received like an email explaining the immediate news of being bought out, and we were all going to receive letters welcoming us for our new business owners. And they talked about, everybody was sort of like half talking about renovations, they were talking about improvements, they were talking about how much are they going to invest, or what they were going to do with what they owned. And when I spoke to like other like members of staff, like my friends and all that where I work, everybody kind of wasn't really like over the moon or enthusiastic about it. Everybody was sort of half scared and kind of half under the notion that a lot of people were going to be losing their jobs. Now, with that being said, the aspect of me losing my job because of this hasn't 100% escaped my notice. It also hasn't escaped my notice, ladies and gentlemen, that there probably is something I can do about it. And I actually do believe very sincerely that there's a lot of things I could do to improve what might be a bit of a precarious situation. Precarious because we don't know to what extent, what degree, and how drastic or even how soon they're going to be making these changes. So well, I mean, take this from my previous job, ladies and gentlemen, is that it was around January 17th of 2023 when I got the phone call saying that they were not going to be renewing contracts for COVID-19 sanitation commissioners. So basically it meant that my redundancy was going to be in 6 months' time. Well, specifically, it would be ending on the 30th of June 2023. So just putting that out there for a little bit of a backstory and all that. So basically it meant now was the time. I had 6 months basically to find a new job and, well, take it from there. Now, it worked really well in effect, because what happened was that I started my new job on the 23rd of June. I started my new job literally the very next day after my last job as COVID-19 cleaner, which meant that, one, I was still able to get my redundancy and was able to still get my final payment from my old place. And I got straight into work and got on with it. So far, so good. But then, of course, again, if it's a question of redundancy, they would have to give you like at least 6 months notice. And I'm not entirely sure how they were even going to go about that for what is still quite a large body of people. It could be true that maybe it could, I don't know for certain. But that's the biggest thing about this. I have no idea, because I have no idea how to put it into perspective about who's going to be okay, who isn't, what are they going to be looking for, and finally, well, will any change coincide whatsoever that will make working where I do a better place? These are questions you have to ask, and questions that are going to need some answers sooner or later. And whilst a lot of these things are uncertain of, then it means that there's only one other thing I can do. It means that the worst case scenario is, well, like I mentioned, being laid off for whatever reason. But here's the thing. Just because that fear might still be in my head, it means basically I have to fight for every waking minute that I'm at work from now on in. It's as simple as that. And any mistakes are going to feel like one more strike against me, and because I feel like eyes are on me right now, and I feel that it's gonna start leading to problems if I think about it for too much. But to be honest, I didn't get that much sleep last night because of this, because I was like thinking and worrying far too hard about this. Also because it means that, well, RageCon 4 has got to succeed, otherwise everything seems almost to be on the line for this. I need this to work to make sure that, well, whatever reputation I've got left on YouTube is going to be maintained and will start to flourish and nourish and become better. That's the thing about this. I need this to work personally, so that not only all my hard work will actually have meant something, but also because, well, you know, that's basically where that's where it begins and it's where it ends. So the only thing to do now, ladies and gentlemen, is to do basically what I've always done. In fact, it's basically become my policy as far as being on YouTube is concerned. There is work to be done. Always more work. So with that being said, I hope all of you guys, I hope I've managed to make myself understood, and I hope to see all of you guys again in the next video. So take care, and bye-bye for now.